Randy Orton returns and rejoins The Authority. The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt are now a lock for WrestleMania 31. I'll have my full Fast Lane and Monday Night Raw review, including the story about Brock Lesnar walking out this past Monday on WWE. We'll get it all started right after this.
Okay, here we go. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
You are now tuned in to the world's greatest.
Podcasting from the Empire State, this is the Matt's Madness Show, a weekly podcast reviewing every Monday Night Raw and WWE pay-per-view.
Give me that hell yeah! Yes! 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 Yes!
And now, here to give a no-filler, to-the-point analysis for everything WWE, I present to you Matty C. And rest assured, that's best for business.
Welcome, guys, to Matt's Madness. I hope you enjoyed the new intro, trying to freshen things up here on the show. I'm also going to be working on some new cover art and just trying to keep things fresh, new, and exciting. And hopefully the audio quality has improved as well. I tuned some settings on my mic and got a pop filter on the microphone, so those P's and T's shouldn't sound so harsh when I really start going off on the microphone. So hopefully it's improved. It sounds a little softer, a little less harsh, and feedback, please. mattsmadness.com, Matts_Madness on Twitter, and also on YouTube, Matt's Madness, on Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, lots of media platforms that I'm on. I would appreciate any follows, likes, and comments. You can also email me if you prefer. Questions at mattsmadness.com is the email address. So Twitter's probably the best way, though, Matts_Madness on Twitter. So let's get rolling here. So much to talk about. I feel like it's been forever after that Fast Lane pay-per-view and the follow-up Monday Night Raw. There is a lot of stories in and out of the ring that have been going on. Particularly, the biggest story is Brock Lesnar's disappearance from Monday Night Raw. He was scheduled to be on Raw, and for whatever reason, Brock Lesnar did not show up on camera. I guess the story goes as follows, that he had a disagreement with the WWE on a business-related matter and caused him to walk out. We don't know any of the storylines. We don't know too much detail as of this recording. It's a Thursday evening on February 26th, 2015. So we don't have a huge amount of detail in this. It's just not a good sign either way. When you're advertised for a show and you don't show, and you walk out, there's no good reason that can come of that. There's no positive spin on it. And hopefully these two parties, WWE and Brock Lesnar, can make amends and cooler heads prevail rolling into the biggest event of their season, WrestleMania 31. There's rumors that it was because Brock wanted to fight concurrently with UFC while he was with WWE. I guess it wasn't related to a creative matter because Brock seems to be all about the cash. So, hey, I don't know. Follow along with me on Matt's Madness on Twitter, Matts_Madness on Twitter. I'll follow and retweet any information that I see out there, do some digging around, and if you guys find anything out, Brock is notoriously a very closed-off individual, very internal, very family man, very homebody, and he has a very close-knit circle of friends. So outside of Stephanie McMahon, maybe Triple H, obviously Vince, not too many people I know the story. Either way, it's not a good look for WrestleMania 31, especially so close. It's likely due to contract negotiations. So we'll keep you updated. You keep me updated, and we'll see what comes of this. I don't think the WrestleMania 31 main event will be in jeopardy. I seriously doubt it, and it would have to be an extreme event for the main event to be altered with Brock not in it. Could they do it? Yes. have a four-way with Roman Reigns, maybe Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, and another individual where you'd still have Roman Reigns go over, which I think is the plan anyway, but we'll cross that bridge if we get to it. So, rolling into Fastlane. Overall, I would give this show a 6 out of 10. It had such low expectations, and it met those low expectations for about 60% of the 75% of the pay-per-view. It was pretty much what I expected. It's nothing, just more of like a Monday Night Raw on steroids. It's kind of in that limbo of not quite as average as a Monday Night Raw, but not quite pay-per-view quality of a presentation. So it was kind of in a limbo gray area, and it was really saved, I think, by the last two matches, with being Rusev versus Cena and Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. But before we get there, I'm going to go through the show quickly. The Ziggler, Rowan, Ryback versus Big Show, Kane, and Seth Rollins felt like a SmackDown main event, although the effort by all individuals was commendable. Ziggler and Rollins started. I thought they have excellent chemistry. Big Show and Kane then take over on Rowan, and you knew he was going to have to make the hot tag. Kane and Big Show are just getting stale. I think everybody here would agree with me on that Kane and Big Show are just stale. At least Kane needs to go back to being the Demon, for goodness sakes. I mean, Kane needs to be at least the monster where he was semi-interesting. We don't need concessions Kane. We don't need corporate Kane in slacks. Give us at least the Demon. Just saying. So he gets the hot tag to Ryback. Ryback goes for Shell Shock, J&J distract. Love those guys. And there was a nasty kick to Ryback after that. He finally gets Shell Shock, and then Big Show splashes Ryback to stop the pin. A tag to Ziggler. Big Show gets a knockout blow on Ziggler when he was on the top rope. Kane hits the kind of a choke slam. It's kind of awkward for the pin. Weird that Seth Rollins, the golden boy, the chosen one, the future of WWE, didn't get the pin. Kane did, but hey, when was the last time Kane won? Anybody? There was a curb stomp on Ziggler, curb stomp on Rowan. Finally, Randy Orton returns after, my God, 4 months. And goes crazy, RKO's J&J, Kane, and tries to DDT Rollins. Big Show saves him, and Rollins escapes again. Oh, that legitimately gets me mad, and I love it. We then had the Goldust and Stardust match. It was a good chain wrestling old school match. I liked it. Dusty Rhodes watching. Always love seeing Dusty. It's the American dream, baby. I love that. I love him. And Dusty still has it promo-wise, and it's always good to see him. So Cody dominates most of the match, and really 75% of it at least. And then Goldust had a roll-up for a 3 count. It was kind of a 3 count, kind of an awkward 3 count. Don't know if it's a shoot or if it's part of the plan. Don't know, but regardless, it was awkward, kind of a flat ending to the match, and I wasn't really sure where they were going with that, but who knows. I like the backstage segment also with Goldust talking with Dusty after the match, and then Stardust coming in and just really going crazy on Dusty and Goldust. And I have to give Cody Rhodes credit. This is a very strange character, and it's in the shadow of Goldust. But Cody has really gone all in with this character, which makes it believable and watchable. So hats off to Cody for really digging in and getting knee-deep in this character. Seth Rollins and Jon Stewart, quote, rivalry. Stewart actually had, for almost all of his promo, until the end of it, a very believable promo. And it's sad that he actually had a more believable promo than some of the guys on the roster. Just my opinion. I think this, obviously Jon Stewart's not going to get in the ring. He may make an appearance at WrestleMania and, trip up Rollins, distract Rollins. Who knows? It's just good PR for Rollins and gets him out of the spotlight of his Instagram photos being leaked. So we'll see where that goes. Could lead to a WrestleMania payoff, but definitely not a match. I don't know why I had this note afterwards, but in the Stardust Goldust post-match, Dusty and Goldust were talking, and then Stardust attacks Goldust and said that he brought him this bag of bones and Cody is dead, basically. So, again, props to Cody, and he's just believable right now, and that's what's missing from a lot of wrestling these days. So, okay, then we had Usos versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro for the tag titles. Cesaro and Kidd dominated early. They work on the leg of Jimmy Uso. He got the hot tag to Jay. The match then breaks down. Tons of high-flying moves. JBL saying flying Uso every 10 seconds. The usual commentary and the usual breakdown of a match. A lot of great false finishes here, though. Usos are a very good white meat babyface tag team. Still don't understand why we're supposed to like them. I guess they haven't... When was the last time they cut a promo? And I'm not talking about Hulu Plus. I'm talking about like an in-ring promo to actually get us to understand who they are, other than saying Us and O. I'm not understanding the logic behind why we're supposed to like them, because they do a lot of high-flying moves, and they're entertaining, and they could put on a good performance. Oh, that PR corporate language makes me sick. But I guess we're just supposed to like them because they smile. And they're great. They do a lot of high flying moves. But whatever. Kidd wins. Tyson Kidd, who I believe is very underrated. Yes, his personality hasn't shown through yet. He's just a very good chain in-ring wrestler. He gets it. He's a great worker. But on the personality side, Cesaro included, these guys have one half of the equation and are no better together, in my opinion. Well, you know what? I should say the sum of the parts are better than the individual parts. These two together benefit each other much more than if they were singles, because if they can find an identity together and come up with some kind of gimmick together, it'll help them when they finally break off again into their singles careers. So I'm all for it. These guys just need to find a personality and really try to connect with the crowd in a heel fashion. But I like that the Usos lost the titles. It's always good rolling into WrestleMania having a heel champion. So I'm all for it. I think this freshens up the titles. I just hope it's not a back and forth passing off the titles to whoever's just the flavor of the month. It does no justice or no benefit to the title of any kind for it to just be bounced around. It's not. If you have the titles of any kind, IC, US, heavyweight, tag, divas, you can't use the belt to make the wrestler. The wrestler has to make the belt. How do you do that? Length of time is number one. You don't play hot potato with a championship. There's very few times that you can do that it works. It does work, but very sparingly. And you have to have somebody who can go in the ring and the fans respect. So that goes for all titles. Then we had the Sting Triple H segment. Triple H comes out in his street clothes with his gut hanging out of his shirt. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but the game has some cardio to do the next 30 days. Triple H then apologizes for pushing Flair. Sting comes out, and Triple H basically says to him that he respects Sting because he went down with WCW, but he failed to put WWE out of business. And that's what Sting does, is fail. So I guess they're doing the whole WCW versus WWE storyline. I guess that's where they're headed. I don't disagree, although it's kind of pitting the WWE fans against WCW. If Sting is representing that, it's not a great... it'll work, but I don't know. It just could have been logically told better, maybe, instead of forcing the fans to basically side with WCW. I don't know. So then he offers Sting's legacy to live on and through the WWE network, and if he walks away, he'll let him do that. Or we can do it the other way. Triple H then goes for a sucker punch. Triple H goes for a sucker punch. Sting blocks it, and then they brawl. Triple H getting the upper hand, then goes outside of the ring, tries to grab a sledgehammer. Sting subsequently grabs a ball bat and the equalizer, so to speak, and threatens him and points to the WrestleMania sign, and boom, we have our long anticipated and predictable Sting versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Totally fine with that. Once Sting turns his back, Triple H goes for the hit with the sledgehammer, and we have Sting counter it with a ball bat to the ribs. Triple H left laying. And I really think that this is the third time in a row that Sting has gotten the upper hand when they've had any kind of confrontation. First at Survivor Series, then at the Raw, where Ziggler, Rowan, and Ryback all got rehired, and now at Fast Lane. So this is 3 times in a row Sting has made a positive impression to the fans in terms of getting them to pop. The babyface has gotten the advantage 3 times in a row. You can bet your house and bank on it that the next time these two come face-to-face or have any kind of interactions, Triple H will get the upper hand. It only makes storyline sense. He has to. He needs some heel heat to keep this rivalry hot. So that's all I got to say about that. Next was the Paige versus Nikki Bella. I thought it was a predictable match. Again, there's still no explanation why Brie Bella has aligned herself with Nikki. Think about it. The storyline goes as follows. Nikki faces Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam. Nikki costs Brie the match against Stephanie. And then Nikki makes Brie her personal assistant for 30 days, treating her like complete garbage. And then Brie just continues to side with her. No explanation. Kind of like there's no explanation for the Wyatt family ever breaking up. Hey, what the hell do I know? It's just, at least give me something. Even if it's garbage logic, it's some kind of logic at least. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky and just supposed to be naive and suspend my disbelief. But when you just leave holes like that, it's hard. It's hard. So anyway, the match was good. I liked Nikki's powerbomb that she did on Paige. Unfortunately, Paige no-sold it. It was one of the better-looking powerbombs in a while, very stiff. And Paige isn't afraid to attack the mat. I like that. Nikki wins with a roll-up using the tights. A very heel move. She's a heel. She should cheat. I like it. There's now turnbuckle cameras, by the way. Kind of weird. The posts are bigger so they can have little cameras. Maybe it'll lead to a great shot of something. I don't know. But nonetheless, they have turnbuckle cameras now. Oh, whatever. Then we had Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Bear for the IC title. It was a decent match. There was the wasteland and a kick-out. Another kick-out from a finisher here. I don't mind kick-outs from finishers on big stages. WrestleMania, Royal Rumble. Huge main events on pay-per-views. But when it happens on a regular basis on Raw, SmackDown, every pay-per-view, it loses its luster. Kicking out of a finisher should be something special, dramatic, and unexpected. Now, when you don't kick out of a finisher, it's perceived as that wrestler they're burying the wrestler. Nope, it's actually they shouldn't kick out. It's a finisher for a reason. It adds value to the finisher and makes the wrestling a little bit more believable, maybe, because these guys aren't kicking out of super moves like kicks to the chin and drops on your head or whatever your finisher is. A finisher ends the match. It finishes the match. That's why it's called a finisher. So maybe I'm getting my soapbox here, but a little less kickouts of the finishers. It makes it more unexpected and special and better, I guess, for lack of a better word. So, all right. So it was a decent match, like I said. Dean Ambrose had that rebound clothesline. It's a very stiff clothesline. I like it. It's a nice, very unique and original move, in my opinion. So Ambrose got DQ'd for his aggressiveness, I guess, for stomping Barrett in the corner. But think about it. If this was the case, Stone Cold Steve Austin would have gotten DQ'd about 90% of his matches in his career, because he would have that stomp a moto, walk a dry just signature move. And so there's no real DQ formula. It just, one day you could have two wrestlers throw each other into the steel steps, not get DQ'd. The next, they throw each other just into the ring area, in the barricade, and boom, that's a disqualification. You stomp somebody in the corner too many times, it's a disqualification. There's no formula. There's no true tried formula. Just very inconsistent. But overall, it was a decent match. So he got DQ'd, which means Bad News Barrett keeps the belt. But Dean Ambrose actually took the belt. So he just stole the belt and left, even though Barrett is still the IC title, or a champion. So I'm okay with that, I guess. That's more of a heel move to do, for the heel to take the champion's belt. Well, I don't know. I'll roll with it. It's a fresh feud, better than Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt. If I see those two fight again in the next 3 years, it's too long. So it's anyway. Speaking of Bray Wyatt, Druids come out. Taker's music hits. I think we all, and myself included, did not expect the Undertaker to come out. I thought there was maybe a 20% chance that it was actually the Undertaker. So the Druids come out. Taker's music hits. The crowd goes crazy. A casket gets brought to the ring. And then, obviously, Bray Wyatt sits up inside to the dismay of the live audience and says that he no longer fears The Undertaker, and he's going to claim his soul at WrestleMania. So, instead of dancing his way around The Undertaker's name, he finally says The Undertaker, names him by name, and locks in the main event at WrestleMania. Rusev versus Cena. Lawler calls out the bogus old man persona. I like that because I don't want to get into it. But basically, if you're naming John Cena as an old man, it's not doing him any favors. So I'm glad with that. Rusev dominated early, and that Cena needs to be a little quieter with his in-ring calls. I heard Cena say, watch the tackle. So he was going into his tackle formation and the 5-knuckle shuffle. They need to just be a little less vocal, I guess. Maybe it's the language barrier or something for Rusev. I'll give him a pass on this, but with the rings mic'd the way they are today and everything else, just be a little quieter. It takes me out of the moment. The STF was applied. Rusev powered out. Basically just slid Cena's hands off. So, whatever. I guess the hold wasn't in tight enough. And then on the fourth attempt, Cena finally hit the AA to a kick out. And then Lana comes in, just basically walks in the ring. I think this is the first time that I've seen her actually interfere in a match like that to get that involved. And then there was a kick to the nuts, basically, and the accolade was applied, and Cena passed out. So it was a wonky finish, as expected. And it was a great match, though. It was definitely I would say it might have taken the top spot as far as match quality goes. Great match, and these two are destined for a rematch at WrestleMania. Then we have Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. The crowd, all in general, was very quiet. I thought the crowd. Now, a lot of live reports, the people that were there, had claimed that in the arena, the crowd was hot. It was loud. And so I don't know if maybe, like I said, the ring wasn't mic'd right, or basically the crowd wasn't mic'd, or the acoustics in the building don't really support a loud presentation on air. Don't know, but on TV it came across the crowd was flat. For this match, though, they seemed to be a little bit more into it. There was lots of Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns chants. It's very reminiscent of Cena. The women are chanting for Roman Reigns. The Daniel Bryan fans are men. And it was back and forth. And overall, I thought it was Roman Reigns' best match to date. A lot of that credit goes to Daniel Bryan, in my opinion. But you can't count out Roman Reigns here. Roman Reigns, he put up in this match. Yes, Daniel Bryan, I don't want to say carried him, but the only way to get better in the ring is to be in the ring with somebody better than you. And this match did nothing but help Roman Reigns. It was his best match to date, SmackDown pay-per-view or otherwise. So it was it was a good match. There were a lot of big bumps. Roman and Daniel Bryan were very physical. There was a Superman punch and a kick out, a spear countered into a roll-up that was like 2 3/4. When Bryan hit that knee, I didn't know if Roman Reigns was going to kick out, but he did. Another kick out to finishers, which I just said previously was a little bit too often. There was the S-lock, and then Daniel Bryan couldn't apply it, hold it, and Roman Reigns gets out. And I think Daniel Bryan, he can just make anybody look good. It's an intangible, and it's akin to HBK. Shawn Michaels could make anybody look good in the ring. That's an intangible quality. It's something that is very, very important if you want to be a top guy. So Daniel Bryan has that. Roman Reigns counters Daniel Bryan and spears him. 1, 2, 3. We have Brock versus Roman Reigns. Bryan is pissed after the match and says, "You better kick his ass." Crowd's kind of indifferent. These guys are the crowd. I don't want to. It's a small sample size, just like the Philly crowd at the Royal Rumble that WWE. I think I'm glad that they didn't just knee-jerk reaction and switch it to a triple threat. They took the sample size of Philly, and then every show since then, Roman Reigns hasn't got booed out of the building. So I think at WrestleMania, however, Roman Reigns is going to deal with a crowd even harsher than Royal Rumble, and especially the night after. I think they have to anticipate that. So the crowd was kind of indifferent. So as long as you have a reaction, that's all you're looking for. That means they've emotionally invested and they care about what's going on. When they give you no reaction, that's the worst thing that can possibly happen. So we'll have to see where this goes. Again, the sample size is very small here. So to me, in my mind, the last thing I wrote down here on the notes of Fast Lane is that this solidifies Brock as a babyface. Because especially at WrestleMania, as I just mentioned, the crowd is going to eat Roman Reigns alive. And it's an international crowd, a very smart crowd, and a very hardcore crowd. So, in my estimation, WWE has to anticipate Roman Reigns getting booed out of the building because at least the fans respect Brock. Now, what's going to be a problem is if it gets out that Brock, say, decides not to re-sign with WWE, and now you have a shove down our throats Roman Reigns, which is John Cena 2.0 to a lot of fans, and especially the WrestleMania crowds going to view it as that. And then you have a Brock Lesnar with 1 foot out the door. They buried him at WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Garden. I was there for it. 10 years later, 11 years later, you have technology and information flowing even more fluidly. It's going to get out if Brock's leaving. This match has the potential to get booed and crapped on the entire way through. So hopefully WWE is privy to this. Hopefully they understand the psychology behind it, especially if it gets out that the fans know Brock's leaving. It's a possibility this match could get dumped on by the fans. It's going to be very interesting to see how this goes in the coming weeks with Brock's contract status. So, all right, guys, this is a longer show than usual, so stick with me because on the other side here, I'm going to take a quick break, is Monday Night Raw review, and I have some notes here that I think you're going to find very interesting and good conversation pieces as well. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
And now, back to the Matt's Madness Show.
Thank you guys for hanging with me here. This is a much longer than usual episode of my show. There's just so much to talk about, and this is WrestleMania season, so my podcasts and posts may be longer and more frequent than usual, and hopefully you see that as a good thing. If you don't, well, that's okay, because when you're in the public eye, you have to be able to take the good with the bad and learn from it. So, hey, if you want to talk crap or tell me something you don't like about the show, great, because guess what? That shows me how to improve the show. So, okay, before I move on to Monday Night Raw, I wrote down some notes about Fastlane, some observations after kind of having a couple days to digest it. In my estimation, Rusev looks more ready than Roman Reigns. Rusev has made strides since he's gotten here. I even say he's more believable. He has it. His in-ring moveset is more expansive. He has a great look, and a manager who has a great look as well. So I think Rusev is more ready, in my opinion, to main event WrestleMania than Roman Reigns is. So anyway, Reigns versus Brock, besides the possibility of the crowd crapping all over this match, I think it's going to be a decent match because Brock is just that good. But I don't think it's WrestleMania main event worthy. WWE is just trying to justify the streak being broken by passing the torch this year. They're trying to come full circle and make themselves and the story and the whole meaning of the streak being broken, trying to make it worth it. And I don't know if that's going to happen. It's hard to prejudge. With 4 weeks until WrestleMania, we'll have to wait and see. And I think Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank contract shouldn't be mentioned from now until WrestleMania. It's going to keep it out of the fans' minds, and the Orton match that is likely going to happen at WrestleMania, it'll just be a distraction for what's really in the plans for Seth Rollins, and that's a cash-in on whoever wins that main event at WrestleMania. Seth is walking out with the belt. You can take that, quote, to the bank, pun intended. So a lot of people are asking, why Sting not versus The Undertaker? Why? Yes, it's a dream match. It's a match that people have in both WCW and WWE, or WWF at the time. It's a dream match. These guys have very similar personality. Well, I don't know, similar personas in that they're both dark. They both have entrances that require the lights to go out. So does Bray Wyatt, I guess. But these guys were faces of their company for many years. And here's the reasons why it won't happen, I don't believe. Number one, their age. I mean, these two would have had, in their prime, it would have been better when they actually could perform at the level that they expect of themselves. And at their advanced ages in their 50s, they don't have too many more days left in the ring. So Sting may be a one and done this year anyway. So a lot of people are like, well, why didn't they just use it on the dream match with Sting versus Taker? One word, future. There's no winner, and there's no long-term benefit for either guy winning the match. Taker's streak is already done. And you're not going to bring in Sting for a one-off that he loses. So it's about establishing the future and establishing the stars of really tomorrow. I know that sounds cliche, but it's about establishing stars for the future. And you don't do that through Sting or The Undertaker. You have them on separate paths working with younger talent. Triple H and Sting is an exception. Sting just needs to work with a big name, especially if it's a one-off. I think The Undertaker is going to retire next year, maybe against John Cena. I don't know. That's WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. But that's why, the future. So let's get into Monday Night Raw. I'll try to make this brief. We're rolling past a half hour here. And if you're still with me, I really do appreciate this. MattsMadness.com. And Matts_Madness on Twitter. Best ways to get a hold of me. So, Monday Night Raw from Nashville, Tennessee, comes to you live. And Michael Cole has the prestigious introduction that he always does and welcomes us to Raw. The camera pans the crowd, and Randy Orton comes out to the ring. Huge pop. Says there's something he has to get off his chest. He's been out of action for 4 months because of Seth Rollins, and says he's just now getting started and that Seth got away. But to him, it's just a stay of execution. I like this. Very good choice of words. Calls out Seth, and then gets everyone in the Authority except Seth Rollins. Big Show's now in a suit. Okay, I'm all for it. Whatever. Again, Big Show and Kane are very stale to me. Steph welcomes back Randy and says that she still wants him as the face of WWE. Randy says, get off it already. He's not a part of the Authority and is not forgiving Rollins. Stephanie says that she knows he can forgive Rollins, and there's no reason that the face and the future of WWE can't coexist, and that they had no choice 4 months ago to do what they did. And everyone in the Authority forgives him, and they want him to come back home to the Authority. Randy says it's tempting, but he'd rather kick some ass than kiss some ass. Show says that joining the Authority is the best personal decision he ever made, and is the best decision that he could ever make. Stephanie tells Randy to look into her eyes and tell me you're a good guy. She says he knows he's not a good guy, and he has done some of the most deplorable and despicable things against her family and even her. Good point. Stephanie's a great heel, great delivery, great cadence. She has it. Too bad she's not a full-time performer. And then they're going to have Stephanie invites him for a business meeting to come back home. Randy stops them halfway up the stage and says he agrees. Okay, at this point you're thinking Randy has something up his sleeve. We all know how that turned out. I'll get to that. But anyway, Ziggler versus Bad News Barrett, non-title. It was a cold match between these two. Cole points out that a win by Ziggler would put him in the hunt for the IC title. Okay, I guess that makes it half interesting. Half the match were just Cole and JBL talking about R-Truth, who was on commentary, about getting the IC title shot, and just the hashtag give truth a chance, which eventually did trend #1 worldwide. But hey guys, there's an effing match going on in the ring. I mean, I hate when they take away, and then Cole just comes back saying, "Oh, what a power move." Tell me what the damn move is. It's kind of lazy commentary. I guess maybe it's just Vince not allowing the commentators to individually point out the moves in the ring. To me, it's insulting to the wrestlers. But hey, that's today's product of sports entertainment. Then there was the usual great selling by Dolph. He's always fighting from behind. He has that same style every match where he's just face down on the mat and just getting beat and selling. And he does a great job of it, but it's the same formula every match. It's a nice flowing match, though. Great counters, the zigzag. Dolph wins. No kick out from the finisher. Thank God. Ambrose then comes out with the title and then just stands in the ring staring at Bad News Barrett. Why the hell is he doing that? Why doesn't Bad News Barrett just try to get it back? There's no logic there. I don't know. It was just an awkward segment. We then had the Backstage Authority segment. Stephanie tries to unite everyone, including Orton. And Stephanie says that we need to move forward. Rollins and Orton shake hands. At this point, I'm thinking Orton's going to turn later in the night. You just know it. And then she makes Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Orton and Rollins for later on tonight. So then we have Roman Reigns comes out. And he says he went through 29 other superstars. Did he? He went through 29 other superstars? He did not come in at number 1. And he spent half of his Royal Rumble adventure sitting in the corner of the ring. So I don't think he really went through 29 other superstars. You're lying. He says it's been one hell of a month, and he's now going to WrestleMania. 50-50 boos. He's getting a lot of the John Cena 50-50 reaction. And it's all the women and children cheering for Roman Reigns and all the men smartening up and booing Roman Reigns, including myself. So Daniel Bryan comes out, says that he saw Roman Reigns win the Rumble. Lots of boos there. And like all the doubters, inside he booed and booed and booed. And says he was the biggest doubter. And that he saw... And he says that when they see, quote, potential in him, they're talking about his size and strength. But when it comes to heart, that's what he has. And that's why people back Daniel Bryan and don't like you. Okay, fair enough. That's pretty accurate. And it's very reality-based. It's, I feel, what a lot of fans are actually thinking. Bryan said he gave it everything he had last night and it still couldn't do it. He gave it everything he had, and then he proved... that, and he says that Roman Reigns proved to him that he had more heart than he ever thought he had, but he got beat in the end. He's just trying, I think, to warm the Daniel Bryan fans that are on his side to warm up to Roman Reigns, because now he accepts him, I guess, and giving him his stamp of approval is supposed to have all the Daniel Bryan fans just go, okay, well, Daniel Bryan is cool with Roman Reigns, and we'll just accept him too. Fine, whatever. But Paul Heyman then comes out and congratulates Roman Reigns and says it was one hell of a main event last night. And then that his money is always on Roman Reigns, whether it was Roman Reigns versus Bruno in the 1970s, Hulk and Andre in the 1980s, Austin in 98, Rock in 99, Triple H in 2000, Cena anytime in the past 13 years. His money is always on Roman Reigns. He says that this time, though, Roman Reigns is the guy in the right place at the wrong time, because he isn't fighting a man at WrestleMania. He's fighting a beast, and you can't slay my beast. Paul Heyman is gold. I could listen to him. He is so invaluable to WWE, you can't even put a dollar figure on it. Roman Reigns says that when people says he can't, it just motivates him more. He tells Paul Heyman to tell him he can't do it again. And respect goes out the window at WrestleMania for Brock. I like the serious tone. It's probably his best mic work. Roman Reigns is, to me, on the upside here. His low point was clearly the Royal Rumble win in the night after. So I'm starting to warm up a little bit to the Roman Reigns. I'm giving it a chance here. Maybe it'll come full circle and we'll all look like fools and WWE will look like, Vince will look like a genius. So let's give it a chance here and see where it goes. We then had Usos versus Cesaro and Kidd for the Tag Team Championships. Tyson uses Natalya as a shield. Great heel move. I'm liking Tyson Kidd a little more and more. He's getting a lot of on-time air, and Cesaro and him seem to gel well. Lots of high spots, big bumps. Tyson has really improved. I think him and Cesaro, like I said, are a good combo, but they do need personality. Natalya interferes and causes a DQ. You got to have at least one DQ every Raw. It's like a quota they have to meet. And then it also keeps the Usos on the chase for the titles to Mania, which I still don't think they'll win it there. I don't like a hot potato title of any kind. So, Rolling down the line here, Bray Wyatt was then backstage, standing over a casket. Another one of his promos that he's just rehashing but putting in different words. It's all interesting, but it's kind of repetitive. And he wonders what he dreams. He says he wonders what he dreams about. The Undertaker is nothing more than a pile of broken bones. The mighty Undertaker has fallen, and then says that he will finish the job at WrestleMania, and then says once again, "Find me." The latest is, if you don't want to hear it, stop it now because this is a spoiler, I guess. Okay, if you're still with me. I guess The Undertaker is not going to appear until WrestleMania 31. It's kind of like the WrestleMania 20 deal where he was fighting Kane. He didn't actually show up till the event. I'm okay with it. I don't think these two needed a physicality building up to it, and it's not a great idea to put Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, in a spot where he could possibly get injured. So put it all on the line at WrestleMania. I'm all for it. It really creates some interest and maybe up the network subscriptions. That's all what it's all about, right? John Cena then comes out and talks about his loss last night, how Rusev took him to his limits, if I can speak here. Rusev was staring down the face of defeat, but says that he fought in the accolade, got hit below the belt, and lost. This is a great point, and Wade Keller brought it up on his hotline and on his interview every Tuesday or his co-host, Jason Powell, every Tuesday that he does on the Wade Keller PW Torch show. And, it is a common trend here. John Cena is kind of just saying, okay, I know you cheated. It's okay, though. We're going to... he doesn't ever say and get pissed off that a heel cheated. He just kind of lets it slide and says, okay, well, I'll just try harder next time. It's annoying that he doesn't ever really acknowledge that. He never calls heels out for cheating. It's almost saying it's okay, and it makes him look foolish. Calls Rusev a coward. Rusev comes out. Lana says that he tries to justify his loss any way he wants, but in the end, he gave up and lost. Rusev says he broke Cena. Cena then came back and told them that he got knocked down, but he does what America does. He got back up and calls Rusev garbage, and it's time to take out the trash. Says that he will humble Rusev at WrestleMania and take back the United States title where it belongs. But Rusev turns down Cena's challenge. We all know he's eventually going to accept, but I like that because it allows the heel to be a heel instead of just granting these championship matches like water. It's great because he has a point. Does Cena really deserve another rematch? I like it. And Bad News Barrett did it to Dean Ambrose. You don't deserve a title. I like it because you're holding the title, you're being greedy with the title, you're not defending the title. It's a great heel move. I'm all about the heels because they're the ones with a hot heel. You can establish a baby face. You got to have somebody you really hate because then you can find someone to back. To me, the groundwork is a hot heel. That's how you get a baby face that you can back and make money with. So anyway, Rollins talks with Orton backstage. Orton says that what's best for business is that they are on the same page. He won't forget what he did, but the past is behind him. We then had a really nice video package to re-educate fans, and especially the younger fans, about Sting and his history. And it's a great way to really catch everybody up, including myself, who didn't watch a whole lot of WCW, to who Sting is. It creates some foundation for him, and it was good. So then Seth Rollins introduces his partner Randy Orton as his family versus Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. When Randy enters the ring, the crowd isn't really cheering or booing, and I think they're kind of expecting a turn here. Daniel Bryan starts off the match, missing the headbutt, gets the tag to Roman Reigns. Reigns started to get booed here. Big Show is cheerleading for Orton like a little schoolgirl. The tag by Rollins as Orton is about to DDT Reigns pissed Orton off. He said, "The hell with this." Daniel Bryan tags Reigns as he was about to spear Rollins, and Daniel Bryan kind of laughed it off. Roman Reigns kind of laughed it off. And then Randy Orton went nuts. The RKO on Noble, but he lets Seth go. I don't understand this. Why would Orton let this go? I mean, and the thing is also, did Orton really need a reason to be pissed at Rollins? So in other words, the logic should have been Orton should have costed Rollins the match. Striking Rollins and then sprinting out of the ring would have been the best and most logical way to do this. Yeah, it's predictable, but it makes the most sense. In other words, Orton only got pissed when something out of his control happened. In other words, he didn't plan this to turn on him. Orton got pissed when Rollins blind tagged him in. So it was as if Orton was really going to rejoin the Authority. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would WWE pour cold water on a white-hot babyface Orton return? Maybe they're trying to make Roman Reigns the spotlight for that, but clearly Orton has a better connection with the crowd. And how can fans trust him if he rejoined the Authority? It wasn't a setup by Orton. He didn't get pissed, like I said, until Rollins blind tagged him. There's just no logic. Get Orton hot. Clearly the crowd was behind him to begin with, and I think their logic is that he's eventually going to turn on the Authority again. But it just didn't make sense. It was kind of a anticlimactic way to end Raw. Whatever. But again, we don't know all the info here, and why WWE is pushing Roman Reigns so fast. You never know. Could Daniel Bryan's health be? Is his health sustainable? Is John Cena running out of gas? There's lots of things behind the scenes that we don't see. That maybe in a year or two we go, wow, okay, I see why they pushed him, even though he wasn't technically ready. Now he's ready to be the guy. We laid that groundwork. So there's always usually a valid, logical reason. You got to look at all sides of this. So I think the outrage has cooled off significantly from the Royal Rumble when the internet blew up and the canceled WWE Network and all that nonsense. So we'll have to see where things go. And definitely keeping updated on the Brock Lesnar walkout is an absolute must. Top of the news feed story for sure, because Brock Lesnar is the man when it comes to WrestleMania main event here. He's the guy. He's the end all be all right now in WWE in terms of he's our main event. So again, if you guys have info for me, send it my way. Or feedback, anything you like. Questions at mattsmadness.com. Matts_madness on Twitter. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it was a longer show than usual, so if you stayed with me, I do appreciate it. And you can catch me on iTunes under Matt's Madness, on Twitter, Spreaker, Stitcher, whatever. I'm there. So until next time, guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.